Hi, I'm Michael with Menard Jewelers. Today I want to talk about retipping and repairing the metal that holds your stones in. It's one of the most common jewelry repairs that needs to be done. Just like the cars on your tire, as the tread wears off your tire, the metal is going to wear off of your jewelry as you wear it, and it rubs and gets banged around every day. So the prongs that hold your stone in, they could either be broken off if you hit a door or banging on something without realizing it, or just over time from sticking your hand in your pocket and just getting rubbed on things like that, they could wear away. So traditionally, before we had lasers, a jeweler would take a piece of metal, ball it up, put some solder on it, and solder it on here. This is still done in many jewelry stores today. Now we have lasers. That's what we use here at Menard Jewelers, and we are able to laser metal on here without having to use any solder. Both ways work just fine. Old school versus new school. It's just kind of a personal preference of the jeweler. Lasers are very nice because if this is a sensitive stone, I can come in here and laser that without worrying about heating up a stone, especially if it's a channel setting where taking out the stones isn't much of an option. I can come in here and laser this channel without worrying about the stones, whereas with a torch you would have to heat those stones up or remove them. So let's work on the first one. Most of your center stones, your Tiffany settings and things like that, they're going to be held on with prongs, either 4 or 6 prongs. Some of the fancier ones can be 8 or 10, but 4 and 6 is usually the most common. So what happens is, from the prong looking like this, where you've got all this metal holding the stone in, it'll end up wearing down to where it becomes flat. This is when you want to get it repaired, because that jeweler can come in and just do a retip. So where they're just adding metal right here to bring it back to how it was originally. If you wait, you could end up with no metal at all, where the prong's down here. Okay, so now not only is your stone exposed, if this is a 4 prong, now you've only got 3 prongs holding that stone in. So you're at high risk of losing your stone, and if it's a larger stone, that's a lot of money. Now at this point, now this jeweler has to replace this entire piece. Or if this breaks off even further, he might have to do an entire prong. So you want to catch that right as it's getting flat. That's when it's time to get your prongs retipped. Okay, sometimes the jeweler will tell you that you don't need it today, but you need to be thinking about it. That's because they can see that it's starting to get flat, and that maybe you still have enough metal for now, but maybe next time you come in, you're going to be wanting to get that retipped to make sure your stone is secure. So some things to think about is if you're getting a ring with lots of diamonds on it, and so all your diamonds, if they have shared prongs, you're going to be, they're less secure because each stone is sharing the prong with the stone next to it. Okay, so the way some setters will set this is this prong and this prong will hold the stone, and this prong and this prong will hold the stone, and this prong and this prong will hold the stone. It's not my preferred way of setting. I prefer to set so that these prongs are holding both stones. That's just my personal setting style, but I see this very common. And so what happens is this stone's only held on by 2 prongs. So it's not as secure for the stone, but when it comes to retipping, now you're only paying for half as many retips. So, 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. Whereas some micro pave settings or just small stones on the sides, each stone might have 4 prongs all to itself. Great for security for the stone, but you got to keep in mind, if you need to retip these 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times however many stones you have, that adds up really quick. And so if you're paying $7 to retip one of these times 200, that can get really expensive really fast. So typically, if you're getting 1 prong done, there will be a price for it, and then if you're getting like 5 or 10, it'll be discounted, and then if you're getting more than 10, then the price comes down because now it's just repetitive for the jeweler. And so it gets cheaper as the more you do. But if you're doing 200, it's still going to be a considerable amount of money compared to what you bought the ring for. It's just the maintenance of it. It's kind of like buying a car and then you got to put a new engine in it. It's going to be a chunk of change. So with channel sets, same thing. So prongs, like I was saying, you're adding just a little piece of metal on top of that prong. With channels, not only are you having to add metal across where the stone's exposed, but a lot of the times it's on the side. So you're having to add metal onto 2 sides of where that stone is at. And so channel setting will be a little bit more to repair. Also because you can't remove any of the stones if the guy's doing it with a torch or even with a laser. You've got to do it with the stones in there typically. Bezel setting, if you have a bezel, most often you end up replacing the whole bezel, especially if it's coming down onto the side of the bezel. Not the greatest picture of a bezel, but I wanted to show you that even bezels can wear down. Now bezels, you've got metal around 360 degrees of the stone, so it's the most secure, the most protective, and lasts the longest, but they can still wear out and still need to be replaced. A lot of the times, if it's just the rim of it, you can just add metal onto the rim of it and it's good to go. If it starts wearing down into the sides of the bezel, then you end up needing to replace the whole bezel. So something to think about. Keep an eye on your jewelry as you love it and enjoy it, and it wears with you, that it will need repair over the time. And this is the most common repair up there on the top of the list of things that need to be done. I hope this helps. Click the like button, follow along for more informational videos.